And now for a look at stories making headlines around the world, and we start with Russia. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says Moscow is booting out dozens of American diplomats in the wake of Washington's decision to expel a bunch of Russian diplomats over the poisoning of a former Russian spy in England. For more on this and other news around the world, we turn to our Ro Aram at the News Center. Aram, these tit-for-tat actions are sparking fears of a possible new Cold War. Tell us what the foreign minister had to say.
Well, Semin, Lavrov says Russia is expelling 60 U.S. diplomats and officials in retaliation for identical U.S. measures announced earlier this week. They have 1 week to leave, and the U.S. consulate in St Petersburg will also be shut in retaliation for the closure of the Russian consulate in Seattle.
U.S. Ambassador Mr. Huntsman has been invited to our ministry, where my deputy Mr. Ryalkov briefs him on our response to the U.S. These measures include the expulsion of the same number of diplomats, and this includes our decision to withdraw the license for the U.S. consulate in St. Petersburg.
Lavrov has blamed Washington for leading the mass expulsion of Russian diplomats in the West and said Moscow will enforce similar measures on countries that joined it. U.S. State Department spokeswoman Heather Nauert said the Russian move was unjustified.
I want to remind you that there is no justification for the Russian response. Our actions were motivated purely by the attack on the United Kingdom. So we are reading this, we are reviewing it, and will respond accordingly.
More than 24 nations have joined the UK in pointing the finger at Moscow for the nerve agent attack on Sergei Skripal and his daughter in Salisbury earlier this month. The Kremlin has repeatedly denied involvement, and Lavrov again described the actions against his country as provocative. He added Russia is also seeking a meeting with the leaders of the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons to discuss the case. Meanwhile, doctors treating Sergei Skripal's daughter, Yulia, say she is recovering quickly. She is known to be conscious and speaking, but her father remains in critical condition.